This man is doing so much. It's amazing. I mean, you hear about pro wrestlers, sports entertainers, whatever you want to term them, parlaying what they did into other things. I mean, you could talk about Cena, Batista, Jericho, Foley, Bradshaw, Hogan, and of course, The Rock. Well, you got to put this guy in there too. Tyrus has been a Fox News contributor. He has his own show now that's out on OutKick, which is the sports outlet founded by Clay Travis. Fox acquired it in 2021, and it's called Maintaining with Tyrus. And Tyrus, for his first guest, had Piers Morgan on. He's planning more. It's a very cool show, very in-depth about a lot of things. Politics, pop culture, woke movement, just go on and on and on. Sports, maybe we'll get some sports in there too. But Tyrus, thank you so much. I really want you to talk about your new show, the idea to do this show. What a cool background setting too. This is not like elaborate, we got like $1 million set or anything like that too, which I love. But tell us about the show, Tyrus, and thank you.
So the backdrop of the show, when everybody walks in, they think they're Joe Pesci and Goodfellas. You open a white door and it's just an empty room. It's an empty dinner. Sorry, it didn't work out, bro. That's it. There's nothing can be done about it. So I was like, less is more. I don't even want an intro. And let's just have a conversation and see where it goes. Trying to get to know people and just spit and see what happens. I think the art of the conversation has kind of been lost. It's been a bunch of talking points, or we have to talk about a specific thing. And I just don't really, I just like, just let it go. I didn't talk sports with Pierce because Pierce likes sports that I don't. He likes to watch cricket, you know, and I'd be like, oh man, I'm a baseball guy. He's a soccer guy, I'm a football guy. Although my daughters play soccer, so I'm getting smartened up on the soccer world. And well, we did talk about boxing a little bit because I'm a huge boxing fan. And then so is he. Although he bets a lot on fights that don't. But it was just kind of, I've worked with Pierce a few times, and I always thought it was interesting. And he's that, you know, I guess you could say he's controversial in his confrontations. So I always kind of dug that about him. So I thought it'd be cool to just kind of see how his mind works and see where it goes. So it's like a dog chasing a tire. And you know, the few I've done so far have been interesting, and we'll see how it goes.
I got to watch some of it on YouTube. Great outlet, and again, OutKick. I mean, that just how it's grown from way back when Clay Travis started this, and I'm wondering, like, when you're doing that, you said that there's no intro, right? It's just you guys show up, boom, you're both sitting there, one across from the other, and hey, let's just talk, let's see what's going on and all. Even he was like, hey, did we start yet? Did we go yet?
Yeah.
I mean, it was really cool, but that was really cool. No makeup, I remember that part too. It's like, hey, we just come as you are. Let's just go at it. Is this always been up in the back of your mind, hey, this is something I want to do, this is how I want to do it?
That's how it was in the locker room, and you know, football and wrestling. So, you know, we just kind of, you know, for less of a better word, we just kind of shoot the shit and see what happens. And I just noticed that when people talk today, they come with their agenda. They got to get their talking points across. And, of course, the other side's got to get theirs across. And it's just basically people speaking different languages on TV. Because you rarely ever hear somebody go like, oh, man, I didn't think of it that way. Or, you know what? Man, that's a good point. It's my way or no way. And, you know, it's boring. Nobody just, let's try to get to know each other. So I want to have more people on that I disagree with on stuff than, like, you know, somebody else just sit around and we'll tell each other how great we are. So I'm looking for different varieties. I want to talk about different things because we have to stop always talking about the negative. You know, it seems like that's the conversation is. And there's a lot of bad stuff going on right now that needs our attention. But we also have to remember how to get along again, you know, and be able to, because I never can remember a time in my life where, like, talking about who you vote for was the difference between whether you break bread or not. I mean, that's ridiculous. But that's kind of where we've gotten. And to try to get out of that, you got to lead by example, to where I don't want gotcha moments. I'm not trying to get someone to say something to get me a bunch of clicks and likes. If my interviews are good, people watch them, and it takes care of itself. But that's always the way I've kind of been. Even my books are like that. I don't believe in tell-alls and all that stuff. You tell your story and let the people decide. I think that's a good formula. At least that's what's worked for me in my life.
Amen to that. I talked to Hannity a while ago, and we were talking about that. Like, back then you could disagree with somebody, but it's not like you want to hate them. You want to block them. You want to kill them. I mean, I know I'm going way far on it, but still, it's like, come on, people. We can debate and disagree on things, but let's go. We could be civil.
Or if you just be like, hey, man, let's not talk about that. Because it was like certain things you didn't used to talk about. You didn't talk about who you voted for. You didn't talk about what you did with your wife in the bedroom. And you didn't talk about your religious views at work. There was just like some things were personal, and then, you shared with people who were closer to you, but you didn't have to be this giant, everyone didn't need to know every chapter of who you are. It's like everyone wants to be their own reality TV show, and everyone needs to be a loyal viewer. I mean, I'm talking like watching the reruns. And that's where you run into all the problems where people put a lot more importance on themselves than they really are. And then you get disconnected, and someone's like, well, I'm just as important as you are. Well, I don't think so, because you don't think the way I am, so I'm more important. And then it's a loss, and it's just everyone's dumber when the conversation's over. So I just want to do something a little different where I get, and people I want to meet, and just like and just see how their brain works, and have some fun, make a laugh or two, and then sometimes it gets serious, sometimes some stuff will come up and we'll both speak ahead. But I also think it's important that just my way of thinking isn't the only way of thinking, and my way and my belief system is the only belief system. So my goal is to be open with everyone I'm on and try to get a new perspective, because that's how you broaden yours. You have to be able to learn from people. If you can't learn from each other, then there's no real point in talking to each other.
Yeah, it just becomes like a fight or a battle. I mean, who's going to win? I mean, what's the point of that? It's just amazing. How did you feel? It was the first one, but you've been, Gutfeld, oh my God, amazing job you do there, the whole team there, and other things you've done. But how did you feel? This was the first one, maintaining with Tyrus. What did you think about it? And you got another one coming up, I believe, with Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, that fame. What did you think of the first one and how they came up, and the reaction from others?
Well, like I said, I always wait till I watch it back, and then so my formula is simple. Like, I've had the same prep style from sports to crossing over to more entertainment stuff, but it's always film study. So I will watch myself, like the Gutfeld show, we'll tape it, and then when it comes on, I'll watch it back in real time, and then I'll go back and watch and break down and be like, man, you could have been clear here. I don't think you got your message here. I always find at least 5 or 6 things that I need to do better. When I'm, and you have to really, like I said, and it's annoying to people around me, because they'd be like, where's Tyrus? Oh, he's doing film study, and it's like, what? Why do you film study yourself on film? Because that's just how you get better. And so I've always done that. Wrestling was the same thing. Football, same thing. As I'll watch, if I'm working a guy in wrestling, I'll probably watch at least 20 of his matches, try to figure out like where he ticks, what I think can work with us as far as telling a story. So it's the same prep, different doorways and avenues, but it's all the same. If you're prepared for battle, you can do good things. If you're not prepared and you wing it, eventually you're going to hit the wall. So I always try to be over-prepared and know as much as I can about somebody, because I don't know where the conversation was going. And Jordan is like I said, never met him before. I knew him from the movie. I just got his book. And, I didn't want to be one of those guys that talk about scenes in the movie. We all saw the movie. So, what's life like now? And I think the only thing I referenced, you have to watch and see, I asked, what was the biggest thing what was the one thing he missed the most about that part of his life? I'm not going to, no spoiler alerts, but he had a really great answer. So, but that's kind of the gist of it, man. It's not a real deep well you have to be in to have a conversation with someone. Even I can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
You know what's so interesting to me, because I'm listening to you just mention that, and all you've done, and on Gutfeld, I mean, the things you say are very articulate. It's your views, obviously, and the crowd reacts to that. And I'm just curious, Tyrus, and I don't want to make you mad, but I want to ask this. You're such a larger-than-life persona. And when you were first starting this, were there people in the business like, oh, this is some big pro wrestler guy, what does he know? Did you have to overcome that or no?
who just don't like you. You know, there's people that are threatened by you. Don't get it twisted. For every person who's sitting on a chair or standing in a ring or in a field, there is 10,000 people with a knife out who want your job. Do not get it twisted. Yeah, I still deal with it today. But the thing is that only I can affect me. I've really instilled that in my head to where, yeah, I'm not going to be probably the first guy invited to all the family buddy luncheons and the wine drinks after work, because that's not who I am. I lift weights, I watch sports, I FaceTime my kids. You know, I am who I am. I'm from a different walk of life, a different way of doing things. But when the camera's on, get my job done at a high level, and that's where I'm at with it. But I don't put a lot of weight in what. If I accepted no, I mean, hell, I'd still be trying to get into wrestling, you know. So you just kind of like, I always tell this thing, one of the greatest things about being in wrestling and playing sports is I know how to play on the road. And you're boos and you boo me or you don't like me, I know what you cheer for, so your boos give me self-esteem. So I don't really put too much on it, but if you're not bothering people in entertainment when you're working hard and doing well, then you're probably not doing a good job. You know, there are no friends in entertainment. Don't ever get it twisted. There isn't. Everybody wants the ball. Everybody wants the brass ring, and you just go to work and do your thing. But I don't put too much on it. That's why you got to have life outside of your business and stuff. You got to have hobbies. You got to have stuff you can focus on and not worry so much about that stuff, because it's a competition at the end of the day. Because you're one bad joke away from being done.
And when you mention it's so true. And when you mention, you would say one more thing or tweet something out, X something out, whatever you want to say. Right, exactly. It could be over with everything and all. But you mentioned hobbies and everything. So now you're becoming a big soccer fan. That's right.
Oh yeah, I'm learning.
World Cup. We're going to see you and everybody at the World Cup. You and your family.
I bet. Hey, if my daughters want to go to the World Cup, then we will do that. I become quite a student of it. And I even belong to a betting pool every World Cup.
No.
Then the bridesmaid, I had France, I had Britain before, and then I had England before, and then I had France in the last one. So I came close twice.
Look at this, Tyrus. He's going to soccer aficionado here. What is this?
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, but it's you know what, I'll say this though, it is a sport that, because I didn't play it, I didn't put much into it, but actually watching it, you become a fan of it real quick. You know, figuring out the time and stuff, and I was like, that's gangster. I think football would have a heart attack every time we had an injury or a timeout. They kept the minutes on.
Yes.
You know, like, game's over. Oh wait, you got 8 more minutes. You're like, what? Come on, man. It's like, that part of it is. Can you imagine that? You got 3 more rounds in a boxing match.
Yeah, well, and not knowing. And the other thing is not knowing. You're on the field. You're on the pitch. They call it the pitch. They're on the field and not. Wait, I thought the game's over. No, we still got 7 minutes, 8 minutes.
Yeah, the guy holds up a little sign and was like, all right, cool. Yeah, because pitch is right. I did have that argument with Piers. We play in fields. They play in pitch. All right.
You pitch a baseball. Come on.
Exactly.
Oh, all right. Got a few more questions. This is so cool. Thanks so much for the time. Maintaining with Tyrus. This is a interview series new for OutKick. It's just amazing. He's just down to earth. It's really cool watching the first one. Others. Are there guests in the back of your mind or in the front of your mind who you want to have on? Are there like a bucket list, a list of somebody, couple people?
Got a few guys on that list that I need to. Ice Cube's on my list because him and I have had a beef for about probably since back when I did a tour with him. He's a diehard Laker fan. I'm a Celtics fan. I was bodyguarding for Snoop, and they were going. It was the Celtics playing the Lakers at this one at Staples Center. And you know, you're getting old when you have to remember all the renamed arenas. And he had a fit that I was at myself here on. And Stu was like, that's G. He's a Celtics fan. He's like, what? You let him in here? And I was like, don't stop. You know, because he's a diehard Laker fan. But a few weeks ago, I'm sitting there watching on my NBA League Pass, watching my Celtics home game. And lo and behold, I see Ice Cube with temerity be on the courtside of the Boston game, and I was highly offended. I was like, wow, enemy territory.
Oh, was he wearing Celtics? Was he wearing anything Celtics?
Yeah, he had some green on.
Oh.
Green on. And I went through that with Snoop, too, because Snoop was buddies with Garnett.
Oh.
He came up and he had on Celtic stuff on, and I was like, bro, I'm telling you right now, I'm just disgusted with you. Get off. Like, you're going to jinx my whole season. You know, it'd be like me wearing Lakers stuff. Like, it's just not right. But, you know, Cube's doing that amazing three-man basketball league, and I don't think he gets enough credit for the things that he's done in terms of being a trailblazer, and like he's in a way he's a newer version of Quincy Jones. He's done so many things. Like,
Wow.
Brilliance. He was smart enough not to get caught up. He refused. Remember, NWA was always featuring Ice Cube. I mean, even when he was a kid, he had a good head on his shoulders and was always able to. And he had his own. He's made his own movie company, his own music company, and he's done all these things that is just what the American dream is all about. And he's like him. Tyler Perry's another one. Guys who have been able to. They don't work for anyone, and I think that's probably the greatest American dream. I think Dana White said it best, though. When you work for yourself, there are no days off. Like, but to hear more about the work that went into building the empire that he has built is an amazing story, and I think would inspire a lot of Americans. It doesn't matter what color you are. He got into music. He kept the rights, publishing. You know, he was strong enough mentally to not find his life away. So he's one of the guys I'd love to sit and talk about that. Shannon Sharp. I think Shannon Sharp has become one of my favorite people to talk, because I know we're supposed to be talking sports, but he seems to be just a ton of life. He's got like at least 1 million life sayings. And of course, Mike Tyson, who I've had the privilege of speaking with quite a few times. But I'd like to really interview Mike the Philosopher. He's become a philosopher. He's had some of the most profound things that he has said. Really, it's like if you go back in time, you're like, yeah, this young boxer is going to be saying stuff that has people leaning forward. Every time he talks, it's really an amazing transformation, you know.
It's amazing. And you talked about Ice Cube building an empire. And Tyrus, I have to ask you this. You worked for WWE. You did so much there, and it's become this big empire. It's amazing what Vince McMahon has been able to build. But were you surprised at all with the allegations and what was going on with that?
It's a terrible thing. Everyone should be heard. Every woman should be heard. Every man should be heard. You hope that this is not as bad as it looks, but it looks bad. I feel terrible for Linda McMahon. I feel terrible for the wrestlers who are busting their ass 320 days a year, have to go to work and answer this stuff. You know, it's just, when these things come out, it shakes your head, because Vince was always, he was good to me. I never witnessed anything like that, but it sucked. It's just an ugly thing, and if he did do those things, shame on him, and to ruin all the work that he has done, because for a lot of people, Vince was an inspirer. You know, he was a lot of kids. He invented a lot of our heroes. You know, Hogan and Ultimate Warrior, and Shawn Michaels, and Undertaker, and like Funkasaurus. I guess I could throw him in there, but I'm just saying, it was just, wrestling was such a big part of my childhood, and Vince McMahon was somebody that, when he wasn't, him and Jesse Ventura calling matches and stuff, and then work with him, and then have him come out, WrestleMania, and show me how to dance the way he wanted me to dance with the Mama Funkasaurus stuff was.
That was Miami. That was Miami, baby.
It was this great moment, and all of that won't mean anything. And it's all of that great work, and all of the families that were entertained by the WWE, to have a stain like this on it, it is just terrible. And I just hope that the victim, if the situation is as bad as dire as they saying it is, that she'll get some form of justice. But I think the biggest message is that that stuff is true. You know, no job is worth that. And say something, because especially, here's the thing about TV. There's always somebody around. You know, and if it says, like, again, I guess coming from the position of a man, I'll probably get some heat from this, but like, if I was approached or talked to that way, I'm the hell with this job. You're like, I'm not, what? You know, I think that's the part that you have to, somehow, somewhere, we have to instill in people that if something doesn't feel right, or if you're being pressured this way, you got to talk.
Yeah.
You got to. If it means the job's gone, so be it. Because you don't. If you really think about it, you don't need a job like that.
No, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. You know, and then you hear the part, you know, where like they felt trapped or whatever. And again, that's what the courts are for. Allegations suck. And if he's the text messages are awful and all that stuff, and you really hope that if he's in fact this is all coming out, that he will just go away and not blemish the sport that so many of us love, and because it's a black eye on the WWE. It is. It's embarrassing. Guys don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. It's like it's a horrible thing, and then if you don't say anything about it, it's like you're complicit. It's like a tough thing. You don't want anyone to go through anything like that. I have daughters, you know, and I wouldn't. If my daughters were in a job and that was the situation, it would probably be a very different conversation. I'd probably be in jail for murder, you know. And there's the other side of it is how far are people going or willing to go to get what they want? Is it the same consequences? Is it the same thing? You know, like. But either way, it's a sad day for the sport. I feel terrible for the guys who are busting their ass for WrestleMania, and these are the questions that are going to be coming up, and it's like it just takes away from all, you know, guys who are working so hard. And it's not just WWE, it's AEW, it's NWA. Yeah. It's like everyone's wrestling, you know, they're going to ask, you know, the questions. I haven't worked for the WWE in 9 years.
Right.
And we're being asked the question, and all I can say is, like, you just really wish it never happened, because it's one of those things where it's a blemish that's not going to go away. Mm-hmm. And probably more people, if this stuff is all true, let's say it's all on board, and he did those despicable things, and the people that were complacent and knew about it and didn't do anything about it, that's a problem too. And because if you don't protect each other in the workforce, if you don't look out for each other from things like this, you're not much better than the guy who's doing it. If you know what's going on and you're not doing anything about it, I think that's wrong also. So, but again, I'll let I think it's probably going to go. I don't know if it's going to go to court or it's going to be a civil thing or whatever it's going to be. We'll let the judges and juries or whatever make the decision. But no matter what, it's an ugly thing, and I really wish it never would have happened.
Well, Tyrus, thank you so much for that and just talking about it. And obviously, let's end on a positive. Thank you much for your time. We're going to wrap this up. Maintaining with Tyrus. This is such a cool interview series. It just started for OutKick. And Fox acquired OutKick back in 2021, doing amazing things. He's on Gutfeld. Hey, is it still number one? Is it still number one?
Still number one. It's been number one so long, we might be number two, too.
1 and 2. Yes, they're taking over the whole charts. There it is. Maintaining with Tyrus. You guys got to check it out. Thank you so much, Tyrus.
Thank you, boss.